Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program Islam Explained. We are joined here by Dr. Zuleyha Keskin. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'd like to ask the question on what is Riya and ostentation, and why is it such a bad thing? We'll start with that question, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Riya is, as you said, in the English translation means ostentation. It's also known as showing off. That's another word, since ostentation is not used often, but that's the most commonly translated form. And it basically means to do something or do good deeds for someone other than for God's sake. And so therefore it's seen as a huge problem, because usually, particularly worship needs to be done for God. But the minute you do it to show off to other people, or to impress other people, or to gain benefit from other people, you're falling into the trap of Riya. So in one's daily life, it can be quite serious, because it's like all your priorities are all wrong.
When you do talk about that, basically showing off, the first thing that comes to my mind is social media. Basically, people are I see a lot of Riya there. What would you say to that? I mean, do you see that happening in that scope? If yes, what should they do, or what should be done about that?
Yeah, I have to admit that I think it's potentially, there's a big problem of Riya in social media, in the sense, if we're doing things just so we can post it so people can see it on social media, it's a problem, in the sense, I've done a talk here, I better take some photos so I can show the world that I've done this talk. Or I'm reading Quran, I better take a photo so everyone can see it. So it becomes quite risky, and I would say one goes into dangerous grounds. So one has to be constantly conscious of their intention, I guess, if they are on social media. I'm not saying we should all abandon social media. I personally am on social media myself, but I need to constantly think to myself, when I'm posting something, why am I posting it? If I'm posting reflection, is it because I want to share information and help benefit people for the sake of God? Or am I doing it because I want everyone to think how smart I am or how intelligent I am? So it can get blurry, so we need to be constantly thinking about why we are doing what we're doing, even if it's in our everyday without social media. But particularly with social media, it can be quite, I think, dangerous, because it's all about who's seen it, how many likes we've got, who's commented on it, who's complimented us. So we need to be very, very careful. Okay. And at the end of the day, I should just also add, that, there is a hadith where our Prophet, peace be upon him, says that, one thing I fear the most for you is hidden shirk. And shirk means associating partners with God. And when he gets asked, what do you mean by hidden shirk? He says, Riya. So it's seen as a type of shirk, and the reason being is because you're doing, I guess, acts of worship or good deeds for someone other than for God, and that's considered shirk at the end of the day.
I guess intention plays a big role in that.
Yeah.
So now, to overcome Riya, how do we overcome Riya, ostentation, or how do we treat it? What would your recommendations be on that?
I guess the first thing is we have to have very good self-awareness. So we need to know if it's present. We need to know when we're doing something, why we're doing it. So therefore, the self-awareness I cannot emphasize. The other one is to know our intention. So when we're doing something, again, we have to ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the sake of God, for the pleasure of God? Or am I doing it because, again, I want to impress people, or I want people to see how generous I am by giving? So we need to constantly be thinking about why we're doing it, what our intention is. It's also important to know the dangers of Riya. Like when you know that it's a type of hidden shirk, it helps you to stay away from it. It's like fire. When you know fire is dangerous, if you put your hand in it, you're not going to put your hand in it. You're going to be very careful. So it's really important. If we know the danger of something, then we're going to stay away from it. So this is where knowledge is also important. But also finally, I guess, doing certain acts in private as well. So we need to, in a way, train ourselves to, if we're doing good acts in public, and sometimes it's good to do acts in public because it might encourage other people to do good acts. Yeah. So it's not like you should never do anything good in public, but if I'm reciting Quran in public, I should really be reciting probably more so in private, just so that I'm not, I'm not there trying to publicize it. I'm trying to maybe encourage others to do it, but hey, I'm doing this in my own time as well. So private practice of these acts that we do publicly are just as important. Otherwise, it leads down this pathway of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You have a particular life in the public eye, and you've got a particular life in the public eye, and you've got a particular life in private, and that's really a sign of hypocrisy.
Yeah, we need to be very, very careful. I appreciate that. Basically, the topic on Riya. I'd like to thank you for joining us on the show. And I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in and watching Islam Explained. And please, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And click onto the button on notifications to receive our upcoming other talks. Thank you. See you next time.